This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
Life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. And life sucks all of the time. Stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everyone. My name's Jen. I am your hostess for the evening. And with me, as always, we have Brian and... Oh, no, Henno.
No.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
No, we love you, Henno. We know you're out having a good time. And that's all we wish for everybody.
Right.
As Brian opens up a cold brew.
Yeah, Sprite. Really
You're not
hitting it
gonna
hard
do a
tonight.
Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah, really getting after it tonight. I don't think I have any beer. I mean, I do, but it's real old. And I just haven't thrown it out yet. It's
Yeah, I'm sure it's skunky.
Oh, for sure skunky. I have some that's IPA, and IPA should be enjoyed when they're very fresh because they're usually better. They don't age real well, so those for sure need to go right into I just need to pour them out and crush the cans down. But, yeah.
Pour them out for your homies.
Yeah. There were ones that kind of got buried and I forgot I had. So,
Oops.
yeah. Then you find them and you're like, oh, like I found like half a case of sparkling water that kind of got buried behind something over in the one corner of our kitchen too. I was like, oh, I don't know if these are probably still good. You know?
I would think so.
So I'll at least open one of those and try it. The beer's not at all. There's no way I'm even taking a sip of those.
Like old eggs. You just trust that they're not
Exactly.
gonna be good.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like a year later if you found eggs in your fridge somehow and you're like, no, these are going right in the trash.
Yeah.
Yep.
Preferably don't break them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that was a fun little tangent to start off the show.
Yeah.
Hi folks. Hope everybody's having a good week.
Yeah.
We're a little delayed as we have been. So
Yeah.
I guess no longer are we delayed. We're actually on time because we've been late so many times in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I apologize yet again. Life is lifing us right now, and we are doing our best that we can to keep things moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But so sorry about that, folks. Anywho, so Brian, how was your week? How have you been?
It's been a week. If you're a person who listens to my other podcast, Salty Language, then you've probably already heard this, but you know, my mom fell Monday and we had to end up we ended up having the paramedics take her to the hospital because for the first time in all the years of her doing this stuff, we weren't really in a position to be able to help her up. And she just didn't have, well, I should say she didn't have the strength to help her up. That's more of what it was. So we just went ahead and called 911 and had the paramedics come out. They checked her over. She was complaining of her neck hurting, so they put a neck brace on her, to be safe, and then took her to the hospital. And that was a whole fiasco because on the way to the hospital, or my brother and I got to the hospital they told us to go to. We get there. The girl at the counter was like, yeah, we don't have her here. And we're like, what? We were told she was coming here. And the woman was like, yeah, we're full. She's like, because of COVID, she's like, we're full. And she goes, the people who are coming in for emergencies, she's like, we're telling have like at least a 4-hour wait, because we just don't have a lot of rooms for even emergency type stuff. So we're like, okay, so she tried her best to help us find our mom, but the avenue she had turned up nothing. My brother called around to the hospitals, and all the local hospitals were like, yeah, we don't have her. And we're just sitting there looking at each other like, where's our mother? We're already stressed because she's fallen. She's not feeling right, so, he comes up with an idea, which is smart, which was maybe she's just sitting there and she hasn't been booked yet, maybe the ambulance is sitting outside waiting to come in or, bring her in or something. And he called the emergency rooms instead of just the front desk of the hospital. And sure enough, we found her really quick. We got over to the hospital she was at and everything. And it was just a lot of waiting on tests. They kept doing blood work, and they did an EKG, and they did a CAT scan, and they did, they just did, which, is what they should do.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's just hours and hours and hours of, just waiting. But that's, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So anyway, they ended up letting her come back home and everything. And they found that she was dehydrated. So they, hooked her up to an IV while she was there. And, she's still weak. And, but you can tell, she's feeling some better because she's moving around a lot better and more, but she's still really weak and doesn't seem to be really feeling stronger. So, and it's been, almost a week now. So she has a doctor's appointment tomorrow. So, we'll see where that goes. But, it was really scary because,
absolutely,
anytime somebody something like that happens, it's scary. But also there's the, I only heard her because she was beating on the wall she was laying next to. And I was listening to a podcast and I just turned it off and I thought our cat was into something. So I got up to, basically go yell at the cat. And when I came out, I heard her, yelling help, and I'm like, oh no, so, and when I got to her, she was like, I don't know how I got here. She's like, when I came to, I was just here. And I was like, wait, what? Cause when I came to is scary because we don't,
absolutely.
So we don't know if she blacked out, they don't seem to think she had a concussion. So I don't think she got knocked out, but we don't know what happened as far as what caused it. We still don't know. So it's, like I said, it's scary because when you don't know what caused it, you don't know if it could happen again.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to make sure that, she's not here by herself at the moment. So, it's a lot because, it sucks when you watch somebody you care about, suffer, and it puts a stress, not only that, but, seeing the stress it put on my siblings and myself, just, we were all, super worried, so, but like I said, it's, she seems to be doing better, but there's also still that element of strength that she doesn't seem to be getting stronger, which worries me,
Yeah.
You'd think by now she'd be feeling more strength, but if she does anything, it seems to take all her energy. Like if she put a load of laundry in today and then she's sitting on the couch and she's just sapped. That's it, so like I said, we'll see. So yeah, that's pretty much been my week is, helping her, and thank goodness I live here because otherwise right now she'd need, 24-hour care of some sort just to make sure she, in case she were to fall or something.
Absolutely.
So,
for sure.
But, and then I went out for a little bit. My sister came over and stayed with my mom last night so I could go out for a little bit and just, kind of get some fun time, basically, to take away from the stress and whatnot, which I really needed.
Right.
I really needed that, and didn't realize how much I needed that until afterwards, and
It's usually how it goes.
yeah,
too.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Made an absolute pig of myself, on some nachos, which I posted on my Instagram if anybody follows me. They were fantastic, but it was such a bad, I can't believe I eat all of them. I usually don't. I'm really not but what I'm finding is like the first time I eat, I will eat all the food.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I don't know if it's a medicine I'm on or what, but like when I get up, I'm like, give me everything, and then the rest of the time, like if I eat 2 more times that day, it's like, I'm like, oh, I'll just have a little of this. And like it's so weird how I'm like ravenous when I first get up. And then the other times I'm, just normal eating. So, I think it kind of caught me last night. Plus, it tasted really good. When you have the two together, it's just a nightmare. And I was so full. I felt so full for so long afterwards. It was so not worth it, but it was also worth it. They were so good.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's basically been my week. And like tomorrow, like I said, my mom goes to the doctor. I got to go to the store and get medicine. I got to do some shopping. It's like I got to figure out a way to go do that. Because she's generally the ride. So I got to figure out a way to go do, to get over there. And it's but whatever. That's, that's life.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
It's tough when, because we're at that age where our parents, thankfully we still have them in our lives. But we're getting into the end years.
Yeah.
And
Well, my mom's 75.
yeah, my parents are 73.
Yeah.
So it sucks.
It does.
Because, to see them start having, just, they're always been so strong in so many ways, just see them starting to fail in different places, physically.
Mm-hmm.
I just had this conversation with my brother. My brother lives in Utah. And I told him, I said, you really need to come home twice a year, because usually you only came home at Christmas.
Oh, right.
I'm like, no, you need to start coming home at least twice a year, even if it's just a real short visit in the middle of the year or something.
Yeah.
Because my mom's doing really well. She had the back surgery and she's recovered really well.
Right.
My dad, he's lived a harder life than my mom.
Yeah.
And it's taken the toll on his body. He's got a really bad heart right now. And, he does his bowling about 3 times a week to get some exercise. But even that, he has to take gummies with him, not gummies, but like fruit snacks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to clarify.
Yeah.
But he has to take like fruit snacks or hard candies, because he gets lightheaded and he needs to take a little something in to kind of help balance him out.
Oh, wow.
But if he eats before he goes bowling, he will get sick.
Yeah, I understand that. You know that from like I was never before bowling. I rarely really wanted to eat. Sometimes I would eat at the bowling alley, because they'd have like burgers and fries or something. I'd grab something. There were a lot of times I would just wait until afterwards and then come home and eat or grab something. My nephew and I used to stop by Subway or something after bowling and grab a sandwich, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that full feeling, but when you're trying to bowl, it feels awful.
Oh, yeah. Well, he actually physically gets sick. He gets nauseous and he throws up.
Yeah.
So it's just, and he doesn't have much of an appetite for anything.
Yeah.
And he gets lightheaded and has cold sweats and out of breath, by not much excursion whatsoever.
Yeah.
Gets confused very easily.
Yeah.
So I told my brother, I said, I am not trying to be Chicken Little by any stretch.
Right.
And I'm not saying that he's in immediate danger, But they said in the next few years, you want to get as much FaceTime as you can with them.
That's what I was going to say is like also like they can see you, of course, but also because you want to get some visitations and because, there's going to be a point where you won't have it anymore and you're going to miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can 100% speak on that,
Yeah.
like as much time as I got with my dad in that last year, I wish I had more,
Yeah.
So, that'll never change. And so you're right. It's like there's a point where you're going to be like, man, I should have spent more time with them. So,
And my brother doesn't think that way.
right.
It's
And who
just
knows? Maybe
naturally.
he won't afterward,
Yeah.
Maybe it
It's
won't
just
hit him that way. Yeah.
right. He just doesn't think that stuff through.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's kind of my role, has always been my role with him, as you know, is I kind of give him the heads up.
Yeah.
And stuff. It's like, all right, you really need to be thinking about this.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a reality soon.
Yeah, at some point.
Don't know when. Yeah.
Well, sooner than later. I mean, the math is on that side of it,
Yeah. He's incredibly stubborn. So maybe he'll hang on for another 10 years.
It's
I
true.
have no idea.
Well, look at my grandma, right? Like she lived probably 20 years longer than she had any business doing, but
right.
You never know.
So who knows?
Yep.
Yeah. You can't call anybody out. If anything I learned in life, that is it.
Yep.
It's you cannot call anybody out until the last notes. So so it's really for us, we're at that stage in life that we have to be just cognizant of the fact that, our parents aren't going to be here forever.
Yeah.
Which we're so blessed to have them here so far.
Right.
So a lot of people lose them a lot earlier.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Do you have anything else you would like to share?
I was pretty much wrapping it up there. So, cause
okay.
Like I said, I was pretty much, I don't have anything real great to bring to the table. Well, I do, she's alive. She's doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously thankful for that and fortunate in that regard, but still concerned and worried and all that.
Of course. Yeah.
Because of everything going on, of course, I had therapy scheduled that day and had to reschedule therapy again. And
yeah.
I've now rescheduled it twice, which is, I haven't been in therapy in probably 3 or 4 months now,
Mm-hmm.
and the last time it had been like 2 or 3 months before that, it's like, it sucks when life is kicking me out of my rhythm, but, you just have to readjust your rhythm basically.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Oh yeah, exactly. Last couple of weeks, life is flying by at this moment, and it's going way too fast.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get off, but no, it's been good. I've just been really, I've been doing a lot of work. I've been going out a lot and meeting people, which has been really awesome to kind of fine tune who I am, what I truly like to do, who I really want to be with, and learning how to speak my mind and not mute myself down. Because a good portion of my life has been spent taking care of others, worrying about their feelings, worrying about what makes other people uncomfortable, and going out of my way to make sure that they're having the best time they can have, but not doing that for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to focus on not muting myself to fit others, but find others that appreciate my unmuted self.
Right.
And it's a whole different way of looking at things. It's really been amazing to kind of see how things are unfolding. Because people who I wouldn't necessarily, I thought I had to mute for, I'm finding out didn't.
Yeah.
And I was going through all of this effort for nothing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I assumed
Well,
that that
because your
I would
brain was
make them
lying
look
to you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shocking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool. And there is a gentleman that I'm dating that it's going really well, but it's really interesting because he's a vet, and he was explaining to me about PTSD and his night terrors that he has. And we had a great discussion about fireworks. And he's like, it's not the fireworks themselves. They're pretty. We all like fireworks. They're very pretty to watch. He's like, it's not even the boom. Because the boom is loud, yes, but you kind of know it's coming, and
Right.
you can kind of deal with that. He's like, it's the concussion, it's the compression that you feel inside from the boom. That's after the boom.
Yeah.
It's the sound waves and stuff
Right.
that hit your insides. He's like, that's what bothers you, and it brings you back. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. I
Yeah.
never thought about it that way.
It really does, because you think of like different footage you've seen from like
Mm-hmm.
war zones and stuff, and you think about there's constant like shelling and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, you hear different stuff, but I bet that there's the rocking of the ground, and that feeling you get is probably what puts you back in, like he was saying, is like that really puts you back into that position. That's an insight I wouldn't have thought of, because I've never been in that scenario.
Exactly.
I always thought that it was the boom, but that does make sense, that it's like, no, if you hear the sound of it being shot, there's a boom coming right after. It's kind of like, like you expect that. So I can see where that is the other you don't expect as much. So yeah, I can see where that would really be shaking.
Oh yeah. And he also shared with me, there is something that has not really been publicized much, is there is a very, very high number of suicides that happen with young people coming into the army or into the military forces.
Yeah.
I never thought about it, but he's like, you're taking kids and pulling them from their lives that they know, all their loved ones, all of, communication with their world. For the most part, they can get phone calls and, send letters and stuff, but they are completely separated from all these people.
Yeah.
They're being forced into a situation that is difficult and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to learn something new. And all it takes is their girlfriend decides they no longer wants to be with them now because they're not home.
Right.
Or that they cheated on them with the best friend, or anything like that kind of comes up and they're not there for it. He's like, these young men and women are under so much pressure that they are taking their own lives.
Yeah.
So it's really, talking with him has really given me a different perspective about the sacrifices people make when they go into the armed forces.
Yeah. Well, yeah, too.
And,
well, and also, like, you can't just go, it's not like a normal job where you can go, this isn't for me, I quit.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're trapped at that point, and, so that feels like, well, this is a way out, know, and it's unfortunate that anyone feels that backed into a corner, It's always sad when that happens.
It absolutely is. And the more I thought about it, I mean, I've lived a fairly charmed life. Obviously I've had my bad stuff. Of course, everybody has bad stuff that happens. But I've never feared for my life.
Yeah.
I've never been I can't some close calls, but,
Yeah.
I've never been so scared that I couldn't think straight type stuff, and I've never had those feelings. And the reason I haven't had that is because people like him gave part of their lives to go and defend my charmed life.
Yeah.
He's willing to do things and make choices and sacrifices strictly because I want to live the life I want. And, there is no thank you for that.
Yeah.
There just isn't. And he's paying the price daily
Yeah.
for his sacrifices. This is something that's going to live with him forever.
Yeah.
All the things that he's gone through and seen. So that I can live in my ivory tower and pretend that the world is roses.
Right. Yeah.
And it just, it really, it caused me a lot of thought and a lot of thought to the whole idea that, it's easy for me to believe the good in people because that's all I've ever really seen,
Yeah.
and for him, he's seen the worst of people.
Yeah.
So for him to see people as good takes more effort.
Yeah.
Just like the same amount of effort it would take for me to believe someone's truly bad.
Yeah.
It's just a really interesting concept that I've been kind of toying with, and in my outlook on things. I want the world to be a kumbaya and we'll hold hands around the campfire.
Yeah.
And he's kind of really opening my eyes to the fact that, I always knew that was silly and, an unreal expectation by any stretch, but he's just really opened my eyes to seeing things differently.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, I hope I'm opening his eyes so that kind of help him see things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It's been fun hanging out with him and learning things from another perspective.
Yeah.
And, I love learning things. So, and I love anybody that can kind of open my world up and show me a different way of looking at stuff. I may not always agree with them, but it's just really cool to have more options of, how to think about things.
Yeah.
So that's been cool. And, and just hanging out, and I went to a concert, and I've been doing some volunteer stuff, and I'm doing the dog sitting. And then we're going to talk about shortly here something that I've also been doing, which is trying to spend some time alone, which is not easy for me. In fact, it's quite hard. But I found a really awesome article that gives us a lot of information on things to do to kind of help us be alone. So with that, I will go into the article. All right. So, how to get comfortable being alone and get most out of solitude. The act of sitting down is an act of revolution. By sitting down, you stop that state of being, losing yourself, not being yourself. And when you sit down, you connect to yourself. And you don't need an iPhone or a computer to do that. You just need to sit down mindfully and breathe in mindfully. The day my ex moved out was also the day when our dog moved out and when I was laid off from my bankrupt ex company. It felt like everything around me had suddenly died. Many of our common friends and loved ones distanced themselves from me, and I felt abandoned. As I took my first few steps through the rubble, I felt the full force of this new solitude that was now forced upon me. and it wasn't going anywhere soon. I immediately lost my appetite and my desire to cook. I started taking irresponsibly long hot showers and baths till my skin burned. I decluttered. I threw away pictures and memorabilia, love notes and cutlery, tea bags and cushion covers. I stopped vacuuming, but I continued running. I started reading. I read anything that looked like it held a secret to end my suffering. I lost interest in my job. I'd wake up every morning with dread, sometimes not sleeping entire nights. I kept running. I got faster and stronger. I also got injured and had to stop. The darkness stayed even as the days started to get longer. When I lived abroad, a second wave of COVID had just hit back home. One of my best friends from childhood died, also a cousin. A friend lost his father and never saw the body. My dad got very sick and almost died. I sank further, but I kept meditating in solitude. Every time the void of existence hit me with boredom, anxiety, and restlessness, something deep within forced me to continue sitting through it. It started feeling familiar. And as I slowly started to come back to life, my sense of taste returned. I started cooking again. I started having friends over. Still, some days I would collapse on the floor and cry till I got thirsty. Then I'd hydrate and go back to my laptop to run the next Zoom meeting, smiling through it. I realized what a shell of a person I was now that my ex-wife had left me. At the same time, I continued to befriend the solitude and get comfortable with my aching heart, to sit with it, have a conversation with it, and see what it had to say and what it had learned. I was starting to get to know myself from a brand new perspective. It was almost like getting to know this new person who had been living in the basement all these years, and I had no idea. And this person sure was interesting. The solitude soaked in all my tears so I could laugh again with people. It became my duvet in the winters, my picnic blanket in the summer. The solitude and I would often do karaoke at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning till the neighbors started complaining. We went on bike trips together, dipped in cold lakes, went to eat at buffets, and sat through boring dates. Became my best friend when there was no one around. It taught me to write, to read, to think, to philosophize, to know what's good for me, to love everyone unconditionally, and to be kind. It showed me things that are truly are and caught me when I was being judgmental. It took away my anger and my desperation, carried my dreams and filled me with hope. Solitude has the power to teach us about ourselves. It is the gym where we must go to train. A century ago, people would look forward to solidarity periods of relaxation on their porch after a long day of work. But today we devote most of our conscious time to the pursuit of feeling connected with other people, either offline or online. A simple notification instantly pulls us away from the present moment. We are constantly everywhere, but here and now. Our true selves live in the here and now, though we seem to spend less and less time with it. In the raw moments of loneliness that succeed a breakup or a bereavement, when we have nowhere to run, we encourage our true self, like I did. And it was scary. It felt like sitting in a corner of my dungeon with a chain locked around my ankles, as a stranger towered above me. I wanted to run away, but there was nowhere good enough to run to. I went scuba diving in the tropics, but my broken ghost of a self found me underwater too. The key to cultivating fearlessness in these moments is getting to know yourself through solitude. It means deliberately taking time to sit alone so you feel comfortable with yourself, connected to yourself, and at peace with yourself. So there's some notes in here on how to practice solitude. The first one is think of your favorite meditative activity. Ideally, it should involve interaction with a physical object, not a digital one, and definitely not a phone or something with a screen. It should be mundane and not involve rational thinking. This provides the ideal setting for your true self to emerge. An example is doing the dishes, focusing on your breathing, or just sitting out in the garden, hearing and seeing what is around you. I think this is a great one that talks about, it's basically being present.
Yeah.
It's just sitting in the present.
Yeah. Well, and also the meditation, the meditation part of it really comes through in the basically just sitting in what you are dealing with. Like let it come, acknowledge it, and then let it go. Don't live there, but sit in it and experience it, but definitely, like I said, don't live in it forever.
Right. The next one is set aside a fixed time during the day. This is especially important if you are just starting out, because a strict regime is helpful to cultivate a habit. A good time is early in the morning. A recent study showed that early in the morning is the ideal time for an alpha wave activity in the brain, which is associated with restful attentiveness. But depending upon your schedule or your routine, any other time of day is good enough to start with. Start with 10 minutes and slowly make your way up to an hour. There's no right or wrong duration, but the more, the better. Which, again, makes a ton of sense. How many people get up right when their alarm goes off and is off to the races?
Yeah.
Getting the kids out the door, getting yourself ready, jumping in the shower, grabbing the keys, running out the door, threatening to be late. Set the alarm an hour before the kids get up. Yes, it'll suck in the end because you'll have to go to bed early too and miss, all of the late night talk shows. But it's worth it. Get up that hour early. Have your coffee. Just sit in the dark.
Yeah,
and be with yourself.
Because that's like it says in there, we're so busy about getting connected or go from the minute we're up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I remember my dad used to get up and he would go get a newspaper and breakfast, and he'd sit and eat his breakfast and read the newspaper. Basically, that was kind of how he started most of his days.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it was something he enjoyed. It was something that was just something he just did, so it makes sense that over the years people have gotten away from those kind of activities because, nobody really reads a newspaper anymore. You just scroll your phone. So, and there's a lot of people that when they first wake up, the first thing they do is scroll their phone for half an hour.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, change that from scrolling your phone to, maybe doing some meditation or journaling or something to that effect, something that is more about bringing you to the moment rather than connecting you to the internet or the world or whatever. That ends up usually just being mindless activity.
Yeah, exactly.
You do mindful activity versus mindless activity, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Number 3 is start with an intention. Make a decision to consciously choose solitude. Embrace it like it's your best friend. Know that it is good for you and that it is the right thing for you. That there is nothing better you'd rather do right now and no one more important to talk to other than yourself. Most importantly, don't get too serious. Develop a sense of joy, a sense of humor about the whole thing. Sometimes it all may seem impossible, especially when painful memories and a sense of loss come back from a profound pain. It may feel hopeless as the thoughts and feelings overwhelm you, but believe that those thoughts and feelings are like a movie playing in your head. They do not define your reality in the present moment. Do not let them consume you. Believe you are the mountain in the storm, and when the thoughts and feelings eventually pass, which they will, come back to your practice. Develop almost a blind devotion to it in the beginning, because it may take many sittings to feel the first signs of solidarity and bliss coming back. If you are finding it tough to start by yourself, go to a local yoga or meditation class and work on your basic form. Then come back and try it again. which is a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely utilize your yoga instructors and, meditation classes and stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of them around, some of them even free or close to free. So seek them out and they will help you. I mean, this is definitely something that I'm struggling with. It was worse before. I'm getting more comfortable with it, but I'm still using way too many things to distract me. Instead of sitting in it and just being. So I know I have a ton of work that still needs to be done here.
Right.
So, number 4 is start enjoying your company, whenever the opportunity arises. As you start building a regiment for solitude, you will start to appreciate moments to yourself. While you wait for a friend at the subway before you head to that party together. While you wait for your favorite burger to arrive after deciding to eat out by yourself. Think of these fleeting minutes as a gift, as an opportunity to see if you can appreciate the world around you. Wait before you flip out your phone or put on your music. Can you see how solid and calm you feel now compared to before? How rich the world is around you. Give yourself a high five for putting in all those hours of solitude practice. And if by chance that solitude is forced upon you by a tragedy or unforeseen event, even better. Because when your heart is broken, it is the most open and ripe for new wisdom and the richness of the world to take root. Acclaimed author and Buddhist nun Pema Chodron says to stay with that shakiness, to stay with a broken heart, with a rumbling stomach, with a feeling of hopelessness and wanting to get revenge. That is the path of a true awakening. To deliberate, to be disciplined. You will soon get to know the most interesting person you have ever met. One who will always be with you, no matter what else you do. So that was written by Tapas Trivedi. He is an Indian, an Indian journalist.
Okay.
So this is from tinybuddha.com. Highly recommend checking out tinybuddha.com. Lots of fabulous stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a really great way as a reminder. I mean, I personally can relate to this on so many levels.
Yeah, the the stuff he was talking about at the very end there about the, like, when you're waiting on a burger or waiting on a friend or whatever, it's like those are great times to really, especially if you do meditation, those are great times to really kind of jump in and just do a short one, or focus on something mindful at the time, like really look around at the world, like really take a look at the sky or the surrounding buildings or whatever, and just try to put yourself right in the moment, rather than, again, like our instinct now, for no matter what it is like, if we have to wait for 30 seconds, we immediately we just pull our phone out. Like there's nothing. It's so frustrating now. Like if you're at the doctor's office and you can't get a signal or something to that effect, and you like, oh, I can't. I gotta actually sit here.
Yeah.
It's silly, but that really is how most people are. I mean, you see it at like red lights and stuff too. People pull up to a red light and you see them immediately pull their phone up. It's so, yeah, there's opportunities in different spots, especially for the people who are, oh, well, I don't have time. And it's like, well, sometimes you have to make the time. You have to assign the time, so do stuff like that. Like, hey, while I'm doing this today, I'm going to, try to focus on this kind of thing, rather than just pull my phone out and mindlessly scroll various social media.
Yeah, exactly. To start out with, try doing the senses. What do I see? What do I touch? What do I taste? What do I hear? And just start dialing into the world around you.
Yep.
and just start with the basics.
Yeah, those are
and
great ways for meditation and mindfulness, no matter what,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's so important that we kind of really focus in on just sitting in it. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it.
It really is. It helps very much when you're, like in those moments that, like I said, it'll help you feel better throughout the day, but it takes practice. And, like Jen said, there's, different stuff around in actual places, where they do this, or there's all sorts of apps out there that have guided meditation or just meditation tips and different stuff, or whatever it is. So, for sure, look for that kind of stuff. And it is something that you have to work at. Like, you're not gonna just do it and immediately see results, pretty much. Like, you have to really focus your brain on doing it. It's hard to stay in the moment, in meditations and stuff, but that's okay. The point is that you just try your best and whatever, and just try to be right there. Or like I said, carry a journal with you, and when you have free moments, even if you only have 5 minutes, just write down what the trees look like around you. Or like Jen said, go through your senses. What am I feeling right now? What am I seeing? What am I, touching? That kind of stuff. And it's amazing how it draws you back into seeing things in the world that you've really been ignoring. Because, like I said, even when you see people walk anywhere, their face is down in their phones. No one's looking up at the trees and the sky and, much anymore. Its heads are just looking toward the ground.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing sadder than going to a restaurant and looking over at a family at a table and everyone has their face buried in their phones.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking.
Right.
Oh, it's so sad to see that. On so many levels. But yeah, I mean, I think this was just a really great reminder of just getting back to ourselves. I think we've lost ourselves through all the hustle and bustle of the crazy world that we're in right now.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, really, because people are go, 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 go through the day, a lot of us never really have a chance to sit in the things we need to sit in for a little bit, whether they're comfortable or uncomfortable, because we're just distracted all the time. And sometimes it's good, I'm in therapy. My therapist recommended that if I'm really having an anxiety kind of spin, to find something to distract me. Stuff like that can be really good. But also for anxiety, grounding is a good technique, which is where you engage your senses and embrace the moment, basically. And, so there's different ways to approach stuff, and whatever works for you, please, use that. But you will feel, like I said, doing this over time, you feel better, because think about it, everybody knows somebody who's disconnected from social media recently. And you ever heard anyone that's done so go, oh, it was the worst idea? Everybody I know that's done it has been like, oh, I feel so much better. So, try to, keep that in mind with it, is that these things are, all these things are designed to just keep us staring at our phone and swiping or scrolling or whatever. It's meant to keep us from experiencing anything outside of our phone, So, if you're experiencing something, try to be in the experience and fully taking it, good or bad. Like I said, it's like running away from bad stuff isn't necessarily dealing with bad stuff. So sometimes you got it, like the guy said in the article about how sometimes you just lay on the floor and cry, because that is what needs to be done, and, so sitting in your emotions by yourself can be really difficult. But
it can be.
These things really can help, but it's not bad for you to experience those.
Yeah, it's what we have to do. I think we've all seen Wall-E. We don't want that to be our life.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want that to be a prophecy, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So find what makes you happy, and do that for an hour a day.
Yeah.
Just by yourself. Just enjoy.
Well, like I said, I had I think it was my 10th grade English teacher used to get
Mhm.
up, make himself a cup of tea, go up into his attic, and he would play guitar for an hour.
Mhm.
That was his, meditation, basically. He'd get up, just play whatever. And he even said, he's like, it was not like time to learn a new song. It was just either noodle around or play things that I already knew.
Mhm.
He's like, that way there was really no frustration to it. It was familiar and it was just enjoyable. And then that was how, then he would, leave to go to, or, he'd get ready and then leave to go to school from there. So it's, but it's really important to have those moments to and with yourself so that you don't lose who you are.
Yeah.
Like and like in a scenario like that, or like you're going through, Jen, it's like, it's when you're going, when you've recently gone through a separation of some sort, you sometimes got to re-find yourself.
Mhm.
You like you said, you're finding what you do and don't like in things and things like that. And if you just stay distracted and jump into the next thing, you overlook some of that stuff. And then you might end up right back in the same spot because you didn't face it the first time, you didn't live in it for a
Right.
little bit. So, yeah.
So one really cool thing that I know I'm feeling better is I've started singing again.
Oh, nice.
Just little stuff.
Yeah.
And by no means am I as good as I used to be. But yeah, singing at church, singing in the car when a song comes on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been a sign for me when I'm happy.
Yeah.
Or happy-ish. When I'm on that positive road, that's when I start singing again. And I haven't sang in years. Not really.
Right.
Even kind of goofing around. Once in a blue moon, I might sing a little ditty. But now I'm finding myself singing more and more often. So, yeah, that's definitely, it's kind of like, tulips and daffodils in spring.
Yeah.
When you first see them pop up, you're like, oh, hey.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the winter's breaking. Sweet.
Right. Like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I think we covered a lot of ground tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about a lot of interesting things. So, folks, if you'd like to reach out to us, you know what to do. You can reach us at...
Oh, shoot. Actually, let me interrupt you really quick. There's something I want to talk about before we go into the credits. That way, in case anybody pulls it's the credits and just scrubs past it.
Yes.
I forgot. I wanted to mention that on July 16th, which it's already happened, so it was yesterday for, anyone, whatever. Now the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, instead of being, I forgot how many numbers it was before, it's just 988 now. So they changed that so that, it's more accessible and faster to call for people, and hopefully an easier number to remember than whatever it was before. From what I read, the previous number, I forgot what it is. It's 1-800 something talk. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but there it is. It's 1-800-273-8255 is what it was before. That line will still be open, so it'll still refer you to the same thing. Or 1-800-825-TALK. That's what it was before. So if if you already had that in your phone or you knew that or whatever, that'll still continue to work. But if not, 988 will allow you to dial the suicide prevention line. And, I think that's a great move because, like I said, it'll be a lot easier to dial and remember and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick before we got to the credits.
And folks, what do you have to lose? You can still commit suicide right after the call if you need to.
Yeah.
So, take the chance. 988. Take the chance. So, all right. With that, if you'd like to continue the conversation with us, and I know you do, you can reach us at the Crazy Life Podcast. .weebly.com is our website. The Crazy Life Podcast at outlook.com is our email address. And if you'd like to reach me direct, feel free to shoot me an email. Just attention Jen, I'll get it. Or you can reach out to us on Facebook and just put attention Jen, and I will see it there too. And Brian, how can they reach you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stunami. You can find my other podcast at salty_language on Twitter or at saltylanguage.com. That show's not safe for work for sure. So, be careful when you're listening to. We usually just talk about kind of like, pop culture stuff or just things in the news, or not like heavy news stuff, but just weird news, that kind of thing. We talked about, and the last one we talked about that ad that you shared with me and Heno for the Gillette products that's got a song about pubic hair, which was wild. It's
fabulous.
Yeah.
Everyone, you have to Google it and watch this thing. It is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. So please go give that a listen. If you want to reach out to Heno, he can be found on Twitter at Ida Heno or on Facebook at Heno Heiter. His other podcast is Moving the Needle, which can be found at MTN Pod on Twitter. And I know the last episode I've listened to of their show was the Unwatchables one, where each one of them brought an unwatchable movie to the table, and then they discussed them, and that was a fun listen. So go check that out if you would. This show is part of the Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com. So please go give the other shows there a listen. I forgot our Twitter for this show is the Crazy Life Pod, where I post when new episodes go up. And our Facebook group is at facebook.com/group/Crazy Life Podcast. If you want to go join up over there. I think that's all that stuff. So, if you need help, please reach out. Please let your friends know, what's going on. Cause the more honest you are with your, support system, the better they can help you. Cause a lot of people want to help, but don't know what to do. That's something you find quite a bit, is that people really don't know what to do. And so if your rules change, let them know so that they can adapt their behavior. But also please check on your friends, make sure they're doing okay, and, see if there's anything you can do to help them. And, as always, I ask everyone to just be kind and, just please put good energy out there. Like Jen kind of mentioned earlier about learning new perspectives on things. Even if sometimes the perspective is not something maybe you agree with or whatever, it's still somebody else's truth. So it doesn't, just because it's not your truth doesn't mean that it isn't, real or actually happening to somebody else. So please just be kind, be understanding. Let's just, show that we care for one another, because there's just way too much yelling and screaming and not caring and just letting people fall by the wayside. And that's not the world we should be striving for. So, yeah, there you go. All right. Rant over. Wasn't really a rant, but.
Well, folks, with that, there is one last challenge we're going to make of you. Try this week to listen more than you talk. Listen to yourself, listen to others, and just be in that moment. And be open. So with that, go out there and have the absolute best week you possibly can. And do not forget, always wiggle those toes.